Hey, it's Greg, and I had a question come into me about foods that are inflammatory, right? So I'm going to share with you in a moment the kind of top three food groups that are potentially inflammatory for you. Okay, so just to give you a little bit of background, I had a client in the past who was suffering from poor thyroid function and a little bit of IBS, and one of the issues was obviously her thyroid levels were becoming hypothyroid, and she was trying to remove inflammation in her food. Okay, so one of the things we did first was to actually do an assessment of her reactions to her food. Okay, did she get low mood? Did she get high blood sugar? And we did it in a very strategic way that I map out in my program. So that's the first thing. Like, if you don't do that, and then look at things like neurological symptoms, etc., then you're kind of crapping in the dark and hoping you know where it lands, basically. So um, when we talk about inflammatory foods, you'll see all these things on Google, etc. It says inflammatory, and it was interesting that actually when she found out what was the inflammatory food, it wasn't on the list of non-inflammatory foods. It was actually something that was actually pretty healthy. Once we actually isolated what was going on, we took it out. Guess what? The magic happened. So you could save yourself a lot of time and error on it, but there are certain things you have to go through first. However, for a general list of inflammatory foods, this is what you need to look at. Number one, look at grains, especially things such as gluten. That will be the first thing that I would take out. Gluten would be my number one go-to when I'm thinking about, someone's got some inflammatory condition or trying to limit inflammation. Number two, dairy, lactose. I would again look to that because some people just don't have the enzymes in their genetics to actually digest dairy. Number three, I would look at potentially nightshades, so tomatoes, things like peppers, chilies. I would look at all of those type of foods as well. Make sure they're out of the diet. And then I guess the next one would be looking at how much processed food you have. Now, what you have to remember is that every food on the planet nowadays is processed. Like, everything comes with a side dose of pesticides. So, but what you want to be looking at is making sure you've got lots of what we call single ingredient foods. So these are foods that are literally one ingredient: lettuce. Literally, spinach is spinach, etc. So that's what you're going to have to look at. There is a process that I'm building out actually, which is going to be called the inflammation plan, but it needs a bit of work first up front before you can execute it. So I hope that helps. Yeah, we're going to be relaunching this group shortly. So the more questions I get, the more that I can potentially help you. So yeah, hope that helps. If you've got any questions on inflammation, gut health, drop them below and we can talk about it. Talk soon. Happy Friday.